This is a May Luna Media production.
My lifelong mantra has been this: other people's opinions of me are none of my business. And that's not just a catchy Instagram caption. It has been my survival toolkit and my spiritual flex all rolled into one. Because when you think about it, the weight of living under other people's expectations is like dragging around a suitcase of bricks that doesn't even belong to you. And half the time those bricks are chipped and cracked and mismatched because they come from somebody else's baggage, not from your own truth. And here's the revelation that flipped my life. People's opinions of you are never really about you. They're about them, their traumas, their conditioning, their worldview, and their pain and their projections. When somebody side-eyes your outfit or critiques your choices or even questions your beliefs, what they're really revealing is the lens through which they see the world. You're just the screen their projector happens to be aimed at. And no one, and I mean no one, can know you the way that you know you. Your lived experience, your micro decisions, your heartaches, and your triumphs, they all shape a reality that no outsider could possibly download, no matter how many late night conversations you've had or how close you think they are to getting you. They're seeing the trailer, not the full film. And once you fully integrate that truth, it is liberating as a motherfucker. You stop living like you are in a 24/7 audition for approval, and instead you settle into the juicy role of your own authentic self, the one that you were literally cast by the cosmos to play. And that's why I say authenticity is a cosmic warfare in a world that thrives on fakery. Because when you decide to drop the mask, you not only reclaim your own energy, you stop being manipulated by the invisible puppet strings of opinion and shame and expectation. And let me tell you, once you rip off those strings, it feels like you're flying. So yeah, I'll die on this fucking hill. Being authentic isn't just about being true to yourself. It is about accessing the nuclear codes of your own power. And for the record, I do still believe the higher the heels, the closer to God is a legitimate mantra, but that's a different episode or maybe even a different podcast altogether. Priorities. Hey, and welcome to Synaptic Soul, the podcast where science meets spirit, and we get real about the beautiful and brutal and magical mess of being human. I'm your host, Ava Marie Anderson, writer, mystic, multi-dimensional mischief maker. Quick disclaimer, you may hear the occasional snort, sigh, dramatic flop from my two French bulldogs, Rocky and Rambo. They're the soundtracks of my life, my soul companions, and honestly, the real stars of the show. Someday we'll dedicate a full episode to their role in my daily rituals, emotional healing, and wild spiritual life. But for now, just know that they're always close by, snoring their support. Let's dive in. Pretending is expensive, babe. And I don't mean it in the metaphorical self-help book kind of way. I mean biologically and neurologically and energetically, it drains you like an old iPhone battery stuck on 2%. And let's break that down. Because when you are constantly faking it, like at work or in friendships or in your family, you are essentially running your nervous system in crisis mode. And neuroscience shows us that when we suppress who we are, our cortisol levels spike. Cortisol, if you're not familiar, is your main stress hormone designed to kick in when there's an actual threat, like a bear outside of your cave, not when your boss is questioning your haircut. But the body doesn't know the difference. Every time you hide your truth, your system interprets it as danger. Your heart rate goes up, your digestion slows, and your immune system weakens. And over time, this stress cocktail leads to exhaustion and anxiety and depression and even chronic illness. Like, faking it isn't harmless. It is a straight up health hazard. And here's the evolutionary twist. Masking is a survival leftover. In ancient times, rejection from the tribe often meant literal death. So if our nervous systems wired themselves to prioritize fitting in at all costs, don't stand out. Don't disrupt. Don't be too much, but fast forward that to now, because there's no saber-toothed tiger waiting to eat you if you disagree with your coworkers. Yet your body is still wired to respond as if standing out equals annihilation. And that's why so many of us bend and contort ourselves into smaller and shinier and more digestible versions of who we are. But instead of keeping us safe, what what it does today is it isolates us, because when you live behind a mask, people can't actually connect with you. They connect with a projection, which means that even if you're surrounded by people, you feel alone as hell because nobody's actually meeting you. It's lonely and exhausting and energetically bankrupting. And now let's zoom in on the ancestral perspective. Your great-great-grandmother didn't just survive famine and war and disease so that you could spend your one precious lifetime playing dress up as somebody else. In tribal systems, authenticity was survival. The healer had to own her healing. The warrior had to show up as the warrior, and if somebody pretended to be a hunter when they weren't, the whole tribe risked starving. Authenticity wasn't optional. It was sacred duty, and that truth hasn't gone anywhere. Every time you deny who you are, you rob not just yourself, but the collective of your own medicine. So the price of faking it is emotional bankruptcy and physical breakdown and spiritual suffocation. The invoice arrives in the form of burnout and numbness, or that gnawing feeling of emptiness that you can't shake. And listen, bro, life is too short to be a knockoff version of yourself. You were designed as an original. The cost of pretending is simply too high. Here's where we leave the self-help vibes and get nerdy with the receipts, because authenticity isn't just a fluffy idea. It is measurable and trackable and backed by neuroscience and quantum physics. But let's just start with your heart. The Heart Math Institute has done decades of research showing that your heart has its own neural network, which means, yes, your heart actually thinks. And when you live authentically, your heart and your brain fall into coherence, syncing up like a perfectly tuned duet. And that coherence creates electromagnetic field that radiates several feet outside of your body. So translation, when you are authentic, you are literally broadcasting harmony into your environment. And people don't just notice it, they feel it. And now let's toss in some quantum physics, because every thought, every word, every action has a frequency. When you are authentic, your frequency stabilizes. It becomes clean, like congruent, like a clear radio signal. And the quantum field, that energetic soup that we're all just swimming in, it responds to that stability by amplifying it. And this is why when you finally stop pretending and you start showing up as yourself, synchronicities seem to rain from the sky. Like opportunities line up and people show up and doors open. And authenticity is basically a bat signal to the universe saying, this one's ready, and deliver the goods. And then we've got those mirror neurons, those bad boys fired not just when you act, but when you witness somebody else act. They're why you cringe when somebody bombs on stage, or why you yawn when somebody else yawns. Humans are wired to detect authenticity. When you're real, people's mirror neurons register safety and congruence and trust. And when you're fake, they can sense that static. Even if they can't put their finger on it, they're going to subconsciously know that something is off. And this is why authenticity is the ultimate trust builder. You don't have to convince anybody of anything. Your nervous system does the marketing for you. So put it all together. Authenticity regulates your biology, it harmonizes your frequency, and it builds trust on a subconscious level. No branding strategy, no curated feed, no manipulative funnel can outpace that level of magnetism. Authenticity is literally science's mic drop. This episode is brought to you in part by one of my most favorite humans on this spinning planet, Morgan Garza, and her book Soul Magic. If you've ever felt like your power was just waiting beneath the surface, or like there's something ancient and electric inside of you ready to be reclaimed, then this is the book that helps you remember. Soul Magic is not just a read, it is a summoning. It's filled with rituals and stories and the kind of grounded spiritual wisdom that doesn't talk at you, it talks with you. Morgan writes like a soul sister, a cosmic cheerleader, and a priestess all rolled into one. And it's a must-have for anyone on the path of awakening, reclaiming. So grab your copy at morgangarza.com or wherever books are sold, or bless someone else's journey and gift it, because real magic's meant to be shared. That's Soul Magic by Morgan Garza. You'll feel it in your bones. Let's zoom out of the lab and into the cosmos. So, authenticity isn't just a psychological perk or a biological alignment trick. It is sacred and mystical and written into your soul contract. When you were born, you arrived with a frequency and a blueprint and a divine essence that literally nobody else on this planet can replicate. Like, you're cosmic jazz. You're an improvisation that never existed before and will never exist again. And authenticity is simply the act of playing your song instead of lip syncing somebody else's. Like, look at the spiritual traditions across the globe, and you're going to find the same theme. Hinduism calls it dharma, your sacred duty to embody your true essence. And indigenous cultures speak of everybody carrying medicine unique to them, medicine that serves the tribe when expressed authentically. Christianity's Let Your Light Shine is another way of saying don't dim who you are to blend into the shadows. Across centuries and continents, the wisdom is clear. Authenticity is holy. But let's add in your ancestors, because this part hits deep. Your ancestors endured the unendurable. They survived migrations and oppressions and famine and war and disease. They carried their language and their rituals and their resilience so that you could exist. And if you silence your authentic self to play it safe, you are dishonoring their legacy. Every time you speak your truth, you whisper back through time, I am here. Your survival mattered. And authenticity isn't just self-expression, it is ancestral reverence. And here's where it gets quantum. Time, as Einstein taught us, isn't linear. It is relative, it is stretchy, and it is layered. So when you step into authenticity, you don't just heal your present, you alter the past and the future simultaneously. Your authentic choices ripple backwards, soothing those ancestral wounds, and they ripple forward, clearing karmic debris for descendants yet born. Living authentic, like just completely authentically, is multidimensional activism. And I know that's a little woo to say, but you know what? Here we are. So think of authenticity as timeline work. Every time you betray yourself, you lock into a lower vibrational timeline, a path where your potential shrinks and your joy dulls and your relationships fracture. But each time you choose realness, you hop tracks into a higher vibration reality, one that actually aligns with your soul's design. Authenticity is literally a tool for quantum jumping. And let's not forget the mystical rebellion baked into this. When you live authentically, you challenge every fucking system that profits off of conformity. You're saying, I remember who I am and I refuse to forget. And that remembrance is power. That remembrance is magic. It's why the mystics and the prophets and the visionaries across time always look like rebels, because authenticity is inherently disruptive. Like, it cracks illusions and it exposes the lies and it makes room for truth. So let's just call it what it is. Being real is sacred defiance. It is your soul's way of saying, I didn't come here to cosplay somebody else's life. I came here to embody mine. And in that embodiment, you become both the healer and the revolutionary. Here's the paradox that makes authenticity so fucking juicy. The less you try to be liked, the more magnetic you become. Authenticity is the ultimate glow up, and unlike the makeup tutorials or designer handbags, it doesn't wash up or depreciate. It actually compounds. The more you live authentically, the more radiant you become, and that radiance then pulls in people and opportunities and abundance without you having to chase a goddamn thing. So let's talk biology first. When you live authentically, your nervous system relaxes. You're no longer running the am I safe and do they like me and did I say the right thing program on loop. That calm nervous system then radiates an energy of safety and trust. And humans are wired to gravitate towards safety. It is survival instinct 101. This is why authentic people often feel like an oasis, or people just, want to be around them. Their vibe says you can exhale here. And energetically, authenticity is like cleaning your radio signal. When you are fake, your frequency is static. The quantum field gets scrambled instructions and sends you mismatched manifestations like wrong jobs, wrong partners, wrong vibes. But when you're real, that frequency clears. You broadcast congruence, and the quantum field mirrors it back with precision. And this is manifestation's biggest hack, by the way. Authenticity equals alignment, and alignment equals effortless attraction. And think of it like shopping online. If you type in size 6 black boots, you're going to get exactly that. But if you're vague and you say something like shoes, maybe black, maybe brown, not sure, the algorithm is going to spit back chaos. And authenticity is specific, like it is basically telling the universe exactly what to deliver. And beyond the science, authenticity is sexy. Like, it is magnetic. It is the reason why some people walk into a room and everybody turns their head, even if they're not conventionally beautiful or dressed to the nines. Like, there's an aura to authenticity, a shine that comes from energy not wasted on masks. You're luminous because your power is unchained. And here's another angle. Authentic people inspire trust. Like, they're not trying to be everything to everyone, so they come off as solid. And we crave that solidity in a world where everything feels slippery and curated. When you're authentic, people know where you stand, and that clarity is honestly intoxicating. The glow up isn't just personal, it is relational. Authentic people create authentic connections. They attract partners who love them for who they really are, and friends who see them fully, and opportunities that match their soul instead of their mask. And that glow up reverberates through every corner of life. So, the magnetic glow up isn't about external validation. It's actually about internal alignment. And once you have got that, the external world can't help but rearrange itself to match. This episode is supported in part by Sage App, aka the app that's basically a metaphysical multivitamin. It's like having a spiritual sanctuary in your pocket minus the incense smoke in your purse. It's also where I host my new moon manifestation clubs, which, if you know, we go deep. So if you're ready to stop doom scrolling and start soul scrolling, download Sage in the App Store or Google Play and then step into a more intentional, magical version of your day. That's SAGED, like Sage, but with an app. Back to the episode. We are living in an age of illusion. Like deep fakes and filters and bots and corporate branding and political spin, it is all one big hall of mirrors. And in that context, authenticity isn't just refreshing, it is revolutionary. Like, realness is the glitch in the matrix, that signal cutting through the static and the reminder that truth still exists. But let's start with systems. Capitalism thrives on your insecurity. Entire industries, from beauty to wellness to tech, they all profit off convincing you that you are not enough. The less authentic you are, the more products you're going to buy to fill the void. And social media algorithms are designed to amplify comparison because comparison keeps you scrolling and consuming and doubting. But when you step into authenticity, you unplug from that matrix. You stop needing external validation to define your worth. And when enough people do that, the system shakes. And from a spiritual lens, authenticity is part of the global awakening that we are all experiencing. Like, call it ascension, the shift, the age of Aquarius, whatever you name it. The essence is this. Illusions are crumbling. Institutions built on lies are cracking. And the antidote to illusion isn't more illusion, it is truth. Every person who chooses to live authentically becomes a node of truth in the collective grid, strengthening that field of awakening. And that's how paradigms tip. Like, not through one giant revolution, but through millions of individuals refusing to fake it anymore. And there's also a psychological rebellion here. Like, in a culture where we're rewarded for branding ourselves into palatable versions, authenticity becomes an act of courage. It's saying, I'm going to risk rejection for the sake of truth. And that courage is contagious. Every time one person chooses authenticity, it gives silent permission for others to do the same. Like dominoes, one act of realness knocks over the next until the entire community is shifted. And let's be real, AI is only accelerating the fakery. Like, we're entering an era where you don't know if a face or a voice or a quote is even human, which means that the rarest commodity will be raw humanity. Your unfiltered laugh, your weird quirks, your unpolished truth, that is the new gold. That is what people crave because machines can mimic almost everything except authenticity. So, why is authenticity revolutionary right now? right now? It's because the antidote to control and the medicine for disconnection and the light that cracks the illusion wide open is just that. When you choose to be authentic, you're not just freeing yourself, you're contributing to the liberation of the collective. And in 2025, that might be the most radical thing that you can do. Listen, bro, your authenticity isn't just cute. It is your secret weapon. It protects your biology and stabilizes your energy and honors your ancestors and magnetizes your desires and disrupts the illusion game that we're all trapped in. And that's not small. That is actually seismic. Like, start paying attention to the places where you're still leaking energy by pretending or performing or just staying small. Ask yourself, who am I doing this for? Like, what would happen if I let that go? And then give yourself permission to actually live the answers. Because authenticity isn't a someday goal, it's the path right here, right now. This world does not need your perfection. It doesn't need your curated highlight reel. It doesn't even need your I've got it all figured out persona. What it needs, what it is starving for, is your truth. That messy, radiant, unfiltered you. That is where your power is. That is where your freedom lives. And that's the nuclear code to your magnetism. So, yeah, drop the mask. Step into your realness and watch how the universe reconfigures itself around the authentic you. Because, bestie, bro, my love, authenticity isn't just self-expression. It is cosmic warfare. And spoiler alert, when you fight with truth, you always win. If you loved this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a glowing review. It helps more beautiful souls like you find this space. Because your words matter, your energy ripples, and every review is like a little spell of support for the Synaptic Soul mission. So until next time, stay curious, stay cosmic, and keep waking the F up.